Hi, my name is Andy Norton, and thanks for watching. This is something new, something I have never done on YouTube, recorded or done for anyone anywhere. And I just thought I'd try it and see how it goes. So bear with me. This is a playthrough of the One Ring RPG. I have just recently gotten a few items for this, the One Ring and the Moria book and the starter set that includes dice as well. And it has been a blast reading through the beautiful, beautiful books, these tomes on my left and my right, and just starting to get to know the system. And so it's been a ton of fun. And so what I wanted to do was play a solo playthrough of the One Ring and see how it goes and see how far I get with it. And just, yeah, so this is very much like a learning experience for me. And I hope that you will come to like begin to understand and learn a bit of the game as well. What I'm doing is I am mostly just playing 3 characters. So there is a solo mode called Strider mode that you can buy separately. But there's also in the Moria book, in the back of the Moria book, there is a solo mode in Moria specifically, which you can apply some of it elsewhere. And I'm going to be using what that has. So there's what's called a telling table, there's lore tables, there's fortune and ill fortune tables. Those are all in this book. Those are the things that I'm going to be using to sort of guide this solo playthrough. But otherwise, I'm playing it like it's not a solo mode. Like I'm not using the Strider mode. I'm just playing out a 3-character party, playing through the game, but with no lore master is really what I'm doing. And instead using those tables I mentioned to help dictate the game or help determine or randomize and help determine what's going on as we're going. So with all that said, let me just introduce you to my party. So I'm using 3 of the 5 pre-generated characters that come in the starter set. So we've got Fimbrethil, the fair elf scholar, I believe. Fimbrethil of the Havens. We'll walk through her character in a moment. We've got Mentha. There you go. Mentha. She's so small you can't hardly see her. Mentha Northtooks. Is a Hobbit treasure hunter, I believe. Yes, Hobbit treasure hunter. And then finally there is Duinhir. I don't know how you pronounce these names, but Duinhir. I love Lord of the Rings. I've never gotten great at the pronunciation. So I'm going to pronounce that Duinhir. Duinhir Eaglenose, who is a ranger of the north and who is a warden. So I'll go through their characters here in a moment, but those are the 3 characters. And I was thinking I might just go ahead and play through like the short, as much as I wanted to, of the short starter campaign, I guess, if you can call it that. It's like, up to 3 sessions of play to play through this story. This adventure, I guess that's what you call it, an adventure module, Overhill and Underhill, which actually happens to have, I think, our 3 heroes right there. So to go back into them a little bit, we've got, I'll just start from the last, then go back. So Duinhir Eaglenose says, "Not many years have passed since you began your ranging among the woods and hills of Eriador. Sometimes you travel with fellow rangers to benefit from their experience, but often you journey alone, especially when visiting the settlements of common folk to buy supplies or gather news. The people in Archit have taken to calling you Eaglenose, while elsewhere you are given worse names by those who forget they enjoy peace only because of your kin's constant struggle against bandits, wolves, and worse. Yet the names do not bother you. You have vowed to protect these lands, finding purpose not in titles, but in the peace your deeds bring." So all that makes total sense because he's a warden is his calling. So it's not really his job, it's his calling. It's what draws him into being an adventurer and not just somebody. So his heroic culture is Rangers of the North. His calling is that he's a warden. And our patron is Gilrain, daughter of Duinhir, who I believe is actually Aragorn's mother, which is pretty cool. And just a couple things about him. He's got a long sword. He's got spears. So technically he can throw his spear as a ranged weapon. But his main thing will be his long sword, I think. And he's got a hatchet as well for crafting. He's very frugal. That's his standard of living, so he doesn't have many items. But that is kind of what's going on with him. He's got very strong strength, and he's got pretty strong heart and wits. None of those are to scoff at. So that is Duinhir. So I'll set him to the side for now. Got Mentha Northtooks. So Mentha says, your other relatives blame your lunacy on Aunt Rosamunda's half-gross birthday, when your not-enough distant cousin Paladin II filled your head with stories of dwarf lords, dangerous monsters, and lost relics hidden in the dark corners of the Shire. From that moment on, you were not the same hobbit lass anymore, always dreaming of mysteries and adventures. One night you left your home without saying goodbye, unable to wait for your coming of age. You reached Norbury to pay your respects to those hobbits who valiantly laid down their lives for the king so long ago. You did not see any spirit or ghost there, but you met a group of living heroes instead, a company of rangers of the north. Tall, stern, selfless, brave. They seemed to embody everything a hero should be, and you have decided to follow their example. This is your chance, you know it, to finally live the stories that made you dream. That is cute. So Mentha is a hobbit. Again, she's a treasure hunter is her calling. So that's really, obviously she fell in with the Rangers of the North, but really her heart is in treasure hunting. She wants to be a treasure hunter. And she's got a short sword and a bow. She's not super good at combat, but that's okay. She's got a reusable torch, and she's got a rope. And she's got pretty good heart and wits, but not very good heart and wits, but not good on strength. So she'll be doing, oh wow, look at all those skills. She's got a bunch of skills with wits. So she'll be using her wits to help out the company, surely. And then finally we have Fimbrethil of the Havens. Centuries spent among the shelves and scrolls of the High King's Library in Mithlond have worn you down. Your search for lore left you drained and feeling as old as the earth itself. But before forsaking Middle-earth forever, you decided that, at least once, you wanted to see with your own eyes some of the things you learned about in books. You joined a wandering company to listen to the wind playing in the trees at midsummer, watch the bright sun shine on the ice of Yule, and discover that there is more to Middle-earth than what you read in your books. Eventually, you left your companions to walk among mortals for a few more steps before the gray ships sail. That is cool. I love the writing on these. I've not read the writing before. This is really cool. So this is Fimbrethil, and she is a scholar is her calling, but of course, as I mentioned, she's been drawn out into the wild to see what's out there, and she's joined up with our big strong Duinhir and our little Mentha. She has a great bow, which she's decent at. She's got a cudgel. She's very witty as well. She's got decent strength, though, and a lot of good strength skills. She's got a lot of heart skills. And she has a harp for singing. So hopefully she can bless us with her music. So that is what's going on with Fimbrethil. So this is our company. You can have, I believe, 3 to 5 heroes typically, I think. I don't think it's supposed to be more. And it's not typically supposed to be less, but obviously you can do that with some adjustments. And so we're going to play with 3 heroes. And what I wanted to do before starting off this I want to say campaign, but this adventure module over hill and under hill, I was thinking that what we could do is sort of do a in media res and just throw them into a combat so we can see maybe this combat that they're just completing for a I'm so sorry, what is her name? Their patron is Gilrain, daughter of or Gilrain. Man, you're gonna crucify me in the comments. Gilrayan, maybe? Gilrayan? Yeah, Gilrayan, daughter of Duinhir, I think. I don't know. And so I'm just gonna say that they are completing a little quest for her before returning to their safe haven, which is, I think, in Bree. I don't think it's at the Prancing Pony. No, it is. Yeah, their safe haven, I think, is the Prancing Pony. So before returning there, they are finishing up this. So it's sort of thrown into the midst of things. Boom, combat. They are in the midst of combat with these nasty orcs. And so we're just going to jump right into it. So a quick thing for combat. Normally, if either side might have been surprising the other, we would have done a roll for that, and there could have been ramifications there. And before the rounds of close combat begin, there's typically at least one round of what are called volleys, opening volleys. Yep, opening volleys of arrows and spears. We're going to just say that that's happened. We are just thrown into the midst of a combat right now. So they're going to start a round of combat. And so, so bear with me as we get into this. But what I'm thinking is, let's just open up to the combat section over here and kind of make sure we're following the rules here. So what typically happens first is you're choosing stances. So actually on the flip side of this, there's a really handy dandy set of stances that you can use for combat. And you know what the heck, why don't we just flip it? Let's just flip it for this combat. I was gonna say you don't really need them, but why not just pull this up and show you what's on here. So boom, we've got this big old combat map right here. So what we can do here is each of our heroes is going to choose a stance. So they're going to choose a stance, and then all of these orcs will engage from there. So what happens first is, they are just in the midst of this combat. What I'm thinking is that they've successfully actually waylaid these orcs. And what I'm going to say is that the story is that we have actually lured them into this muddy ravine, and we actually are sort of have high ground, and they're in what's almost not it's like moving mud is sort of what's going on in this ravine. There's a little bit of rain going on, but enough rain in this specific area. Not that it's really upsetting the way that we fight, but enough that there's sort of a flash flood down this ravine. And so I'm thinking that we actually are having just a general advantage for this little combat. So I think that's how the rules work for advantage. Let me double check that. Let me double check on here in the combat section. So there's complications and advantages on page 101. And it says, there's complications, advantages. So, attacking from the high ground, exploiting a favorable terrain feature, or, if the defender is hindered, blinded by heavy snow, knee deep in mud or swift running water. You could even get 2D dice. Wow. We're going to split the difference and say that they are hindered and we have an advantage. So we have an advantage, they have a complication, but both of them are going to be sort of moderate. So we'll get 1 dice and they'll lose a dice on pretty much everything that we're, on every combat roll. I think is what that is. So, so we're going to say that's just what's happening here. So what we do first, though, is we choose our stances. So to pick our stances, there are 4 different stances. There's forward, open, defensive, and rearward. And simply enough, in this setup of this fellowship, this company, we've really got one bowman. So Fimbrethil she's best with ranged weapons. So she's going to be the one who's going to be holding back rearward. But in order for her to be rearward, there has to be at least 2 in the company who are in close combat positions. So we know that these 2 are going to be in close combat. She's going to take the rearward space, And then for our close combat positions, what you're seeing here is like in forward position, you gain a die on attacks, but they gain a dice attacking, close combat people gain a dice attacking you. So what we're gonna do here is I think that Mentha is gonna be in open, I think, and Duinhir is gonna be in forward. So that's the stances that they're taking. And then those are all of our stances, and then we engage. So pulling up the rules for engagement, I believe that if it's even, so if there are more player heroes than enemies or sides are equally matched, when a round sees a company outnumbering foes or matching them in number, engagement is chosen by the players as follows. So player heroes in a close combat stance choose an unengaged adversary to face. So like Duinhir could choose one of these orc soldiers. Mentha could choose an orc soldier, and she would not choose anyone. Fimbrethil will not choose anyone because she's in rearward. And then at that point, if there are enemies left over, so it says if this happens, the lore master chooses whether the spare enemies engage a player hero who's already fighting in a close combat stance, or if they stand back, with his foes standing back area, and shoot. So so these guys are going to be shooting. They're going to be standing back and shooting. These guys will be in close combat here. And that's basically what the combat is going to look like. So we are going to go like that. And then we have action resolution. So beginning with Duinhir. So let's pull up him. So we start from front to back, and then they'll go. So starting with Duinhir, Eagle Nose. So he's got that long sword. We said that he has an extra die on his attack because of we're actually attacking into these guys who are in mud. So they're all like stuck in mud, and we're gonna get an advantage to our attack. And so we've got a dice to our attack, an extra dice to our attack. We're also in forward stance, and so forward stance. Just to double check what it says here, forward stance. Right here, forward stance in close combat. Your attack rolls gain 1d. All close combat attacks aimed at you gain 1d. And we could intimidate foe if we wanted to. So he could take an intimidate foe action. I don't think he's going to do that. He's just going to attack. So he's got a dice from the advantage of the situation. He has a dice from his forward stance. And then for Duinhir, he has 3 skill in swords. So he's going to get 3 more dice. Add all that with a fate die. And he has to hit his strength is the target number. His strength. That's a unique thing about this system, is that actually you use the target number is not set by the narrator or by them strictly. It's by your own strength. Although in combat, if they have a parry score, they can add to that as well. So these are orc soldiers, I think is what these are. And these orc soldiers have parry of +1. So to hit, Duinhir needs to get a 15. So 14 + 1. He has to hit. To hit, he's going to need a 15. Here we go. Duinhir comes in. So he's coming in and just swinging his what does he have? A long sword. A long sword, two-handed, just bringing it down across this orc soldier. All right, so we've got, it looks like a good roll. We have 5, 5, 6, 2, 1, and 8. So that is a massive roll. It's like 27. That's way better than the 14 we needed. Boom. So we hit, and when you hit somebody with a successful attack, you deal them damage equal to your weapon. So his long sword is going to deal 6 damage. So 6 damage is dealt to this orc soldier, which has a total of how many endurance? 12 endurance. So he's going to take 6 damage. So he's knocked down to 6. What we rolled, though, was we rolled this 6 here. When you roll a 6, you notice there's a little Tengwar symbol And that symbol means that this was a special success. So not only did we succeed, it was a great success. We just sliced right into this guy, just bringing our sword right across a weak point in his armor. And so when you get a great success like that, you actually get to deal special damage. And there's a few different options. But in this case, what we're going to do is a heavy blow, I think. Because if you, well, wait, we can maybe math this out, actually. Yeah, no, I think we'll be good. So a heavy blow says you have hit your opponent with great force and precision. Spend 1 success icon to inflict to your adversary an additional loss of endurance equal to your strength rating. Raise the loss of endurance by an additional +1 if you are using a two-handed weapon. So our strength, which is right here, so this is the target number for strength. This is our actual strength attribute, 6. So we deal another 6 damage, and this is a two-handed sword, so we deal 1 more damage. And I don't remember what a Grievous weapon does. Grievous longsword. I think it's actually, what is Grievous? Let's pull up the book real fast and make sure we understand what that is. That's a reward, I think, that's been placed on that weapon. Here we go. Rewards. Grievous. Add 1 to the damage rating of the selected weapon. Wow. So that weapon deals, I think, longswords, that might already be calculated into that. I think it is. Pretty sure. Because I think longswords only deal 5 damage normally. Let's see. We'll double check. So right here we've got long swords for weapons, right? Sorry. Here we go. Long swords. Yeah. Long swords normally only deal 5 damage, so it's already calculated in there. I just wanted to make sure we were doing that correctly. So we dealt 6 damage with our Grievous longsword. And then it's gonna be a heavy blow. We're gonna spend this as a heavy blow to deal another 7 damage, because 6 damage because of our strength, +1 because it's a two-handed weapon. So that's 13 damage. And as we saw, these orc soldiers only have 12 endurance. So defeats this orc. He's just dead. He's gone. Boom. Defeated him. That was awesome. Now it goes to Mentha. So Mentha she's not nearly as great a warrior. Let's see what she can do. Mentha has a short sword. She's got 2 rank in this. She's in only open position, so there's no advantage, no disadvantage. But she does have 1 extra dice from the advantage of just stabbing down at these orcs who are caught in the mud. So normally it would be, the feat die and 2 dice because of her 2 skill with the swords, but she's going to get 1 more from the advantageous position that they are in. So this is going to be her roll, and I think she's just going to take it. I think that's what she's going to do. So here we go. So she has to hit, an 18 to hit this guy. That's a big boy orc. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use a hope. So we're going to spend a hope. Let's do our first little edit on the sheet here. Spend a hope. So our current hope will be 16. It's actually going to be down to 15. We're spend a hope to add another success die. So she just is, this orc just like snarls at her, from the mud, covered in, disgusting mud. But she just, in the midst of it snarling at her, she just thinks it's kind of like funny, and she just sees like a light of hope, and she's like, after a moment's hesitation and fear from this like snarling, disgusting orc, she has this thought of like, I am in the midst of a company of heroes. I am a hero. I am going to defeat this orc. And she stabs at him and sees what she does. All right. So she got 12, 16. She got a 20. That's awesome. So 20 is enough to hit her 18 over here. I think that hope really helped. I mean, unless it was this one die, then that's what got her to actually hit. So 20 hits actually it's 18 plus 1 because of the parry. So 19. So she barely got it. She needed to get a 19 to hit. She got a 20 and stabs at this guy. And she also got a Tengwar for a special attack, which we'll see what she wants to do there. This is going to be for her just 3 damage from the short sword. And then I think for her special success, let's see. So this is 3 damage to this. I'll use my beautiful little notebook to mark down that this orc has 3 damage. Here we go. So 3 damage on this soldier. And let's see. So she has a special success. So some of the things she can do with her special success, she could deal a heavy blow, but for her, a heavy blow is not nearly as effective as his. A heavy blow for her would just be, it's a one-handed weapon. She only has 2 strength, so it'll only be 2 more damage, which doesn't seem great. So I think, she could hope that Fimbrethil finishes him off, but she could also do something like fend off. Fend off, she could spend it to modify her parry rating by +2 because of having a sword, and that might be better. So she's gonna fend off. So she stabs him with a little stab. He kind of just groans from this little prick of a short sword from a hobbit. And then she just is fending him off. She's got her sword out and she's ready to defend. So she's actually going to have +2 to her parry for the round, which is pretty cool, actually. So that is Mentha. And then finally for us is Fimbrethil. So Fimbrethil sees Mentha doing her level best, but she says, she thinks to herself, the Hobbit has this under control, and she's going to actually shoot at one of these goblins. So for her, this is Fimbrethil. She has 2 skill on the bow. These guys are mired in mud, so she's going to get 1 extra advantage. And she has her feet die, and I think that is it for her. She's got a fell great bow, which I think means fell means that. What does fell mean? I know what fell means. Fell means, darn. Does it mean you hit on a 9+? Let me pull this up. Swing back over here to the to what this is. Let's see. So the fell. Oh, fell means raise the injury rating of a weapon by 2, which again, I'm going to guess that has already been added. So her great bow has an injury rating of 18. And so, yes, so she's going to be rolling 3 success dice and a feat die, and she has decent strength. So she'll actually hit on a 16. So she's going to shoot at this orc archer, goblin archer. Let's see. Oh, got a 10. That's awesome. This is a 10 and a Tengwar. This is great. Okay, this couldn't be a more perfect round of combat to sort of show off a lot of what happened. So we rolled a 19 here. 19. So that's gonna hit the 16. Double check what we've got. I don't think these guys have parry, but let's see. Goblin archers is what these guys are. They don't have any parry, so it would have just been a 16 to hit, not a 17. So 19, she hits. But a couple things here. She got a 10. When you get a 10, or when you get the Gandalf rune over here, those actually cause a potentially a piercing blow. So actually, sorry, it is a piercing blow, I think. But they potentially cause a wound. So there's a piercing blow. It's lodging into this orc. And we also, though, have this success die to spend, which we don't need to use the pierce action for it because we already have a piercing blow. We could just do a heavy blow with it. We might as well. I think that's all that could really be done with that, I think. Unless there's some other ability. Well, actually, let's double check. So we're dealing 4 damage, a heavy blow would be 5 more damage, which would be 9 damage, which would just kill this goblin archer. So let's just do that. We're just going to spend this as a heavy blow to just straight up kill him. But just as a quick thing, just to show you what would have happened, even if we had not dealt enough damage to take him down from his 8 endurance down to 0 to kill him, another way, or I guess to incapacitate him, to knock him out of the fight, another way to kill him is they only have what's called might. And so all it takes is 1 wound from a piercing blow to defeat these guys. And so what this guy would have had to do is he would have had to make a protection roll, which he would have had to roll just a die and a feat die, and would have had to hit the injury rating, which we know from her. She was a fell great bow. So this guy would have had to hit 18, which is almost impossible. He would have needed an Eye of Sauron, which he did not get. So he would have needed an Eye of Sauron, which is a automatic pass for bad guys, to avoid dying to just a wound. But he already died just to straight up endurance loss because we had that Tengwar special success to spend on a heavy blow. So the arrow just lodges in its chest and he's just knocked back dead. So there's only 2 orcs left. Let's see what they can get up to. Probably not a lot because they are in the mud. So let's see what they've got. So I think that they can go in any order, I'm pretty sure. Actually, that's one thing I don't remember, but definitely this guy will go first. If it is a specific order, I think you go with engaged people and then I think it's this and then the back people. So sort of front to back, then back. So this guy's going to attack Mentha. So if you remember, Mentha has a raised parry score, which is going to make it more difficult for him to hit Mentha. So Mentha normally only has a parry, actually has a parry of 18, which is really good. So parry of 18, and then I believe because she is fending him off with her special success, that adds +2. So he needs to get a 20 to hit. Normally, with a scimitar, they are rolling this many dice, so 3 dice and a feat die. But because he's stuck in the mud, he loses a die. So he has to get 20 out of these, which again that's really hard. He could do it, especially if he gets an Eye of Sauron. But we'll see. So here we go. He is attacking Mentha. So he's just gotten stabbed in the shin bone by Mentha, barely harmed, but he wants to just bring his ugly scimitar down on her because she fend him off with some expert sword play. Oh my gosh, rolled an Eye of Sauron, a 6 and a 5. That's an incredible roll. That's amazing. So an Eye of Sauron is an automatic hit, but even if this had been, the next best thing of a 10, that still would have hit. It was 21 on her 20. So she's just doing her daring sword play, feels so proud of herself, and yet suddenly that scimitar just comes crashing down through her raised little sword. And so let's see. So the heavy blow, or sorry, I should say, let's just deal the damage. So this is an orc soldier. The orc soldier's weapon deals 3 damage. And so 3 damage is going to go against Mentha's endurance. So Mentha drops from 20 down to 17 endurance. The Eye of Sauron means that it was there's a piercing blow that's going to happen in a moment, but they also have it also had a Tengwar. So for the orc soldier, their scimitar does not have any special powers. So I believe the only thing that they can do is a heavy blow. So a heavy blow for them is their strength, right? Or I think for them, actually, for enemies, heavy blow is their attribute level. I'm almost certain. Let me double check that. That should be back in this area of the rules, back wherever the nemesis are. I believe that in the nemesis is where actually there's more information on combat, how nemesis do combat. Let's see. Say nemesis. I mean, yeah, bad guys. Here we go. Here it is. Heavy blow is, yes, equal to the attribute level of the attacker. So attribute level of this attacker is 3, so it's gonna be 3 more damage. So he's coming down with this is a heavy blow. Poor little Mentha, taking 6 damage, down to 14. And what's worse, this could be a wound. So it's a piercing blow. So Mentha has to make basically a saving throw, right? A protection roll. So her protection is not good. She only has 1d for this. So she has her feet die, she's a dice, and the orc soldier's injury rating is 16. So she has to get basically a 10 and a 6, or a Gandalf rune, or she's taking a wound. This is absurd. Poor Mentha. Here we go. So she just is getting smacked in the face. Yep, 11. Not even close. Wow. So this sword comes crashing down through her little sword, right into her face, and dealing a heavy blow and a wounding blow. And so I think we have to roll on the wounding table. Let's see what this is. So wound severity. So here we go. Need to roll on the feet die to see what happens. A 10. Oh shoot, that is awful. So what you do here is on the wound severity, a Gandalf symbol would have just been a moderate injury. Like, it would have counted as a wound, but it would have basically shrugged. She could have shrugged it off after the combat was over. With a severe injury, that means that this wound's going to last for however many days the roll was, which was 10. So the highest. So 10 days. The only thing that could have been worse was if she'd rolled the Eye of Sauron. It would have been a grievous injury where she would have been knocked unconscious immediately. Wow. So, a 10 wound is going to take 10 days to heal. Mentha has a wound. Wow. So here we go. Mentha right here. And this is wild. So she, I think, takes a wounded right here. If she takes one more wound, she is just knocked out. She is out of the fight. So she is just absolutely. I'm imagining this sword has just like absolutely creviced through her sword and basically into her skull, and left a huge gash on her head. This is like about as serious of a wound as she could have. She's absolutely shook by this wound. And now this goblin archer sees their chance and shoots at Mentha as well, tries to knock out their weakest ones. So let's see. So for the goblin archer, let's pull up what they've got. So the goblin archers have a bow of horn, which that means that they'll have a feat die, they'll have 3 dice, and but they lose a dice because of their situation, because they are in mud, with mud running all around them as they shoot. So it's going to be 2 dice and feat die, and the parry was 18. I don't think it's increased for close combat. Fend off only adds parry. Let's see. To modify your parry rating. It appears to be for all types of attacks. So it is still, I think, a 20 for this guy to hit. So here we go. Hopefully this guy misses. Again, we need an amazing roll to hit Mentha. Oh gosh. Okay, yes, good. Just a 10. So it's a 10, and a good example here. They did roll a Tengwar. Would have been a great success if they succeeded, but they didn't. So the arrow just this nasty goblin shoots an arrow, but the arrow just zips by Mentha. Mentha, even wounded, Mentha slides to the left, and arrow zips by her. So that is the first round of combat. Duinhir is absolutely furious. He turns and sees Mentha just absolutely sort of shaking on her feet, kind of stumbling back and forth, with blood just gushing down her face. It looks even worse than it is because of the rain and the mud and the muck that's everywhere. So Duinhir just yells a great shout and comes rushing in on this orc. So in the next round, he's going to stay in forward position. Mentha is going to fall back into defensive position. Fimbrethil is going to stay in rearward. And then no, actually, you know what? I think I'm pretty certain that you have to attack the person you're engaged with. And so what I'm thinking is that Mentha is going to stay or Mentha's going to, I think you have to attack let me double check. Do you have to attack the person that you are engaged with? I do believe so. Let me just double check. Resolving attacks. Player heroes attack their enemies as a main action. They attack in close combat. Adversaries make close combat attacks if they are engaged in a close combat stance and can use ranged weapons only if they stand back and remain unengaged. And so I'm pretty certain let me just double check one more piece here of what engagement means. Because if you're engaged, more enemies than players. I don't think it I'm not seeing exactly where it says that you can't attack someone else who's not. I should definitely double check that somewhere. I'm sure it says somewhere in here, but I'm gonna say that you can't attack someone who is not engaged with you. So I guess either way, just to be safe, Mentha is gonna fall back into defensive, but Fimbrethil is actually gonna run up and attack this goblin archer. So she's gonna she's actually gonna go into forward position as well. So she's in forward position, runs up and attacks this goblin archer because she basically wants to save Mentha. So that's kind of funny. So she runs up, and that is the engagement right there. And so starting off with Duinhir. Duinhir just in a fury comes around and brings his long sword up against this orc, and basically just tries to absolutely chop it down at his side. You can see it's already wounded and staggering a little bit from Mentha's small but brave attack. And so he's going to be rolling a feat die, 3 dice for his skill, +1 for the advantageous position, +1 for his stance of forward. And so actually going to be rolling all of these dice. So here we go. Attacking for the Shire. Oh, nice. Yeah, roll. Wow, that's great. Rolling what looks like 10, 16, 22. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. It definitely hits, and it's a great success. It's 2 Tangwars. So I don't believe he even needs, let's see, 6 damage does not quite kill him because I think he only had 3. So he's going to spend 1 of these for a heavy blow. So I think he deals a total of 13. Just absolutely chops this guy, and he just goes flying into the mud and defeated. And I believe, I'm forgetting if you can pass on an extra success to a friend. I don't quite recall if you're able to with combat blows. But I'm gonna say in this case that Duinhir does because I don't know. I'm not quite sure what you can do with that. I think he might be able to. He is. Well, no, we'll just let it pass. We'll let that extra success slide away, and. Well, I mean, he'll use it as a fend off, I guess. So that technically, if he got attacked, then he would have extra parry. But I don't think he will be attacked because this guy's going to attack Fimbrethil if he's still alive. But I don't know in that instance if you can pass on. Like with an extra success there, can you pass it on to someone? I'm not quite certain. But Fimbrethil is going to come running up, and she just tosses her bow aside for the moment and whips out her spear that she carries on her back. So she's got a spear, and she is not as apt at the spear, but that's fine. So she has just one skill, so she'll have a die and a feat die, but she is in forward stance, so she gets an extra die, and because of this whole advantageous position, she gets another die. So here she goes. She comes running up to protect, and she just stabs her spear, trying to just absolutely gut this nasty goblin who was trying to shoot at Mentha while she was down. That, I think, will do it. I think so. Let's see. That's 11. That's 19. Fimbrethil, has 16 strength. And I know that these guys have parry of just nothing. So it hits, and it's a great success. She'll have a Tengwar to do some special damage. So her spear does a total of... Or does she have a spear? Oh, shoot. She didn't have a spear. She has a cudgel. That's hilarious. I messed that up. I thought that she had a spear on her, but she does not. Cudgel would have used Brawling, which I think Brawling uses... What does it use? Brawling uses, instead of your... I think it uses your greatest combat proficiency -1. That's what it is. So we're still good. We're still good. This is still the roll. Uses your greatest proficiency with -1 die, I believe. So she actually did not pull out a spear. She pulled out her cudgel. So she runs up, pulls out her cudgel, and just tries to wallop this guy upside the head. And so cudgel deals 3 damage, and she would deal 4 more damage if she did a heavy blow here. Oh, shoot. I guess she will... Oh, by the way, Mentha actually was supposed to engage. So Mentha was in defensive, but she is engaged, I think, with this archer was what she was going to do. Right? I think because I think she has to, unless she wanted to hold back. She could have fallen back entirely, so she didn't even have to engage. That's what she could have done. So, anyways, mathing this out, I'm pretty sure she comes up just short because it's 3 damage. She can use this for a heavy blow, which would deal 4 more damage based on her strength, which is 7 damage down to just 1. So she'll do that. So it's 7 damage. He's down to 1. So she just clocks him. He is just reeling. He's almost dead. Mentha now gets to take a turn. Mentha, who has just been wounded and stumbled back into rearward position. Mentha has a bow. So Mentha sheathes her short sword, pulls out her bow, knocks an arrow, takes aim, and shoots. So she has just 1 skill, and then she has 1 more die because of the advantageous position. And part of me wants to spend another hope, but I think, no, she's just going to risk it here. I know it doesn't have a parry. Oh, she has to hit an 18. She can do it. She can hit an 18 with these dice. It's mathematically possible. Here we go. She shoots. Can she hit an 18? It's tough. But can she do it? Oh, close. Not really close. That was a 14. So she shoots an arrow off. It hits just near the goblin archer. Does not deal it any damage. The archer is now in close combat and can't use the bow. So he pulls out a jagged knife and just in a nasty fashion just licks the knife, sort of like Lurtz. And it's not covered in blood, but it's covered in mud and muck, and it's just disgusting. So it would normally roll these. It's going to roll 1 less die because of the being in the mud. But it's going to have 1 more die because she is at risk here in forward position. And she's put herself in a disadvantageous position for defending. So rolling 2 dice and a feat die, and has to hit Fimbrethil's parry, which is going to be 19, which is really tough. So here we go. 19 rolls. That is not 19. That is 13, I believe. So 13. So whips out the jagged knife. Just Fimbrethil just dodges gracefully left and right, and does not worry about it. And now this goblin, with the elf dodging its attacks, it looks fearfully at the company, and I think that it looks for a moment like it wants to surrender, and it actually cowers in fear for a moment. And actually, each one of the members of the company, actually for a brief moment, sees a light in its eyes that almost makes them wish that they could take it captive and that the fight could end now. But then after a half moment has passed, a darkness fills its eyes, and it tries to run and attack Mentha with just a crazed look in its eyes. And Duinhir and Fimbrethil will now engage both in forward position. Mentha stays back and takes another arrow, ready to knock. Duinhir is going to attack. Duinhir, as we know, has skill of 3, +1 because of the advantageous position, +1 because of the stance. So rolling, just has to hit a 14 or something. What is his? Yeah, he's got a strength of 14, so just a 14 to hit. Ooh, it's not the best, but gets it. It's like a 23, hits this, and we don't even have to calculate damage. 6 damage, or 6 damage, I believe. Just crushes this orc. Just kind of cuts him down as he's running to stab Mentha, and he falls down gurgling in the mud. And so the company has defeated these orcs. Mentha just sits down, just like falls down, like ugh, absolutely. And the Fimbrethil and Duinhir just run to Mentha to check. Actually, Fimbrethil stays looking around, staying alert with her bow, but Duinhir runs to see how Mentha's doing, and Duinhir says something like, Mentha, like, you're wounded. And Mentha says something like, oh, am I? As she just has blood just like absolutely gushing down her face. And she says like, I know I feel tired, pretty tired. Duinhir laughs and then says, let me help you. And immediately gets down and attempts to a healing action. So I believe that you can just do a healing action right here. So to do healing, I know you can roll. So for Duinhir, he's got 2 dice, and he has it favored. Fimbrethil has 3 dice, but I think that this should be Duinhir. Duinhir seems like he has the hands of the healer. So because there's a couple different things. It's not all about your skill. A couple things here is that, well, number one, actually, Duinhir has a lower target number of 15 as opposed to 17. And also it's actually a favored skill. So it actually comes naturally to him. Like this is the kind of thing he really should do when he can. He's a healer. And what that means mechanically is that you actually take 2 feat dice, roll them, and take the best feat die when he does it. So I think that's going to be better. He's going to be better at it. So he's going to attempt a healing action here. Let me double check that there's nothing else special with healing. Let's see. First aid. Here we go. First aid. Player heroes may reduce the severity of their injury with a healing roll. Player heroes who are not unconscious may attempt to roll themselves. A successful healing roll reduces the severity of an injury by 1 day, plus 1 day for each Tengwar icon scored, to a minimum of 1 day. Each hero may be administered a successful first aid only once. A failed healing roll cannot be repeated until at least a day has passed. And so, I don't think that he can actually help her with the endurance loss, but he can help to put the wound at rest. So he's gonna start doing that. But let's see, Fimbrethil says something like, you know, I know there's actually Athelas here in this area. And so she is going to go search for Athelas Kingsfoil. So it's a weed that is healing, has healing properties, and she's gonna go search for that. So she's gonna do a scan check. So she's not great at scan, but she's gonna try it and just see what she gets. Scan check for her is just one skill, so she's just got a die and a feat die, and it's a 13 to get it. So it could happen. It could happen. We'll see. So she's searching around for Athelas. Oh my gosh, let's go. She rolled a Gandalf, Gandalf rune here, which is an automatic success. So she actually finds Athelas and then brings it back to Duinhir as he's attempting this healing check. And we're gonna say that is gonna actually give Duinhir an extra success die on this roll. So let's see. So he's got his feat die, which you always have. He's got 2 for his healing skill of 2. He's gonna have 1 because he's assisted by this useful item, the Athelas. And he actually gets a second feat die, and he'll take the best of those 2 feat dice because this is a favored skill. So here we go. He applies it and whispers some elvish words that Mentha sort of looks up, just amazed at what he's saying, just wishing that she knew even one word of elvish. And then she would feel like a true explorer and treasure hunter and champion. All right, here we go. This is nice. The 4 gets pulled away because the 9 is way better. And so he's gonna get, nice, let's go. He got a 23. He only needed a 15 to succeed. 15 to succeed. And he got a special success. So not only did he succeed, but it was a great success. And so that meant that it's actually going to take 2 days off of the recovery of this wound. So Mentha is just going to take 8 days to recover from this wound. So just 8 days now. So I'm going to put, I guess, I don't know where you would normally, injury. I think I guess it's probably here in the injury, I think is where you would put this. Yeah. It's a severe injury with 8 days remaining. 8 days left until it is healed. So, wow, that is what is happening. She's now wounded, but she's been bandaged up and she is packed up and good to go. And they'll be able to hopefully get back home safe. So that was the combat. And so that was really fun. And so now what I was thinking is doing a journey. I've like done 1 or 2 like practice combats before. So I felt like I was mostly knew what I was doing there. But I want to attempt to do a journey here. We'll see how successful this is. So let's flip back our map back to where we were and kind of reset for a moment. So we've got this beautiful map of Eriador, and I'm thinking that this was taking place probably like, let's say it was out in the South Downs over here. Is where this battle took place. And so we have to actually journey back to Bree. It's a short journey, but we will see how this goes. So here's where they are. And so to my understanding, how a journey is gonna go, I'll just throw these over here, traveling on their way. Let's see, so pulling up the rules for a journey. I believe that we can pull up actually this map here and pull up I have a printout of a journey log, and the main things I'm going to put on this just to make sure I'm covering my bases here. Don't need to do everything. But so we said it was here in the South Downs. And I think that our path is going to be basically from, this area in the South Downs, probably back to the road and then back to Bree. So I think it's going to be basically from here. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think 7 probably to get back to Bree. So I think it is going to be 6 spaces to get back to Bree. Did I say 6? 7, I mean. 7 spaces. There's a road going up through here. And it goes up basically sort of like this, winds its way, and winds back here and up here to Bree, to right here to Bree. So this is gonna be Bree. This is where we're starting. This is gonna be Bree. So we've got sort of the South Downs right here. I'm not doing a beautiful map here necessarily, but this is where we're starting. This is where we're ending in the walled town of Bree. And so what it's basically going to take 1 space through here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I think it would be 7 to get into Bree. So 7 spaces to get to Bree. And so what we do for the journey is we have a few things to do here. We have no pack animals. We traveled really light here, so no horses, no pack animals. And I'm going to say that we have, we already each have 3 fatigue. So I don't really know. This is just, again, we just started in media res. We're just kind of starting in the middle of things. So 3 fatigue from the journey out here. 3 fatigue, that seems fair. 3 fatigue, 3 fatigue for all of us. Which means that Mentha is actually only a little bit away from being weary. So how you calculate that is you've got your max endurance of 20. She took 6 damage in that battle. And so she's down to 14 current endurance. She has a load value of 6. That's all the things that she's carrying. Her leather shirt, her short sword, her bow. And then her fatigue is temporarily adding to her load. So it's 3 plus 6 is 9. And then so 14 is not down to 9 yet. If she gets down to 9 endurance, then she basically if her current matches her combined load fatigue value, then she'll be weary. And when she's weary, at that point, 1s, 2s, and 3s, which are in kind of outline format to show that they're a little bit different, they count as zeros. You just basically ignore 1s, 2s, and 3s that you roll. So being weary is not good. She is definitely the weakest link right now at this moment with this severe head wound that's sort of, the blood sort of seeping up against the bandage. It's a really, really good bandage, and yet still there's kind of blood pushing against it. And so here for the journey, let's see. For the journey, let's pull up the journey rules. And we may need to use some of the solo rules here to help dictate some of the things that happen. So journeys are fun. Let's see. Journeys. I've never really even practiced a journey hardly. So no, that's not true. I think I did one time, practice a little bit of a journey to see what it would feel like. So here we go. Journey. So what you do with a journey is you assign, you set journey path. First you assign journey roles. So first we're going to assign the journey roles. We need a guide, first and foremost, which probably should be whoever's best at travel, which I'm going to guess I'm going to guess it's either Duinhir. It's probably Duinhir. Duinhir has 2 skill and the lowest target number for heart. So we're gonna put Duinhir at the front as the guide, and then the different skills for the different roles. There are hunter, lookout, and scout. And the hunter, as you can imagine, is going to be testing hunting. The scout is going to be testing exploring, and the lookout is going to test awareness. So Mentha is actually really good at both awareness and exploring. So she could do either of those things. She could be the lookout, or she could be the scout. I think let's just have her be the lookout for now. I don't know if that's like a safer position or not, but she's going to be the lookout. Duinhir is going to be the guide. And let's see, we said it was explore is the scout skill. Fimbrethil does not have any explorer. Duinhir does have explorer. I believe you can also assign another role to Duinhir as a guide. I'm pretty sure. So he can be the scout. And then, yeah, so he'll be the scout. He's guide and scout. And then, so finally there is the hunter. So Fimbrethil will be oh gosh, Duinhir is actually a really good hunter too. But Fimbrethil, you know what? Fimbrethil's got at least a low wit score. I don't know. She'll be the scout. So she's gonna scout ahead. She's gonna use her elf eyes to scout ahead. She's not really good at any of those things. Well, she does have travel. She could be the guide. I mean, she could be guide, and then Duinhir could actually be both the lookout and the hunter. I think you can do that. Let's do that. Let's have Fimbrethil be our guide, actually. Duinhir will be both lookout and hunter, and Mentha will be Duinhir's the scout and hunter, and Mentha will be our lookout. So hey, we've got our roles, which I can write down here on this paper, I believe, right? The company, you got the name, journey roles. So here we go. So I'll just put F for Fimbrethil. She's gonna be the guide. D for Duinhir. He's gonna be both the scout and hunter, and Mentha is gonna be the lookout. So there we go. And what we do here is then now we've set the journey path already, so we have that. And I believe in that journey path, if I looked correctly, oopsies, where is this? Oh yeah, it's in the back of this book. So when we're looking through here, it looks like going into the Barrow Downs here. I think that I think all four of these spaces are considered hostile spaces, because we're right on the edge of the Barrow Downs, and the Old Forest I think is over that way. Old Forest. So I think it's a little unclear, but I think that those are all considered whatever that is, the harsh area, which we'll see in a moment. So I'll just put kind of right here like an X, I think. But it is on road, but I think it is not friendly area. So here we go. We've got the journey path. And what we have now is we're gonna make a marching test. So the marching test is gonna be a travel test for the guide. So the guide here is going to, this is Fimbrethil. So Fimbrethil, guide, yes, she has 2 dice. She has to get a 17. And that is not gonna be an easy roll. So we'll see if she can guide us. I feel like we don't have the best party makeup for travel rolls. So let's just see what we can do about that. We got a feat die, 2 dice, and she has to get a 17, her target number, to not fail this travel roll. Oh, that's not looking good. That's not looking good at all. Wow, she got a Sauron's Eye, which counts as a 0. So it's not an automatic success, but it's a 0. So it's a 4 with Sauron's Eye. That's bad. So she absolutely failed this. So we made very slow progress, which maybe isn't the worst. So what you do is if you fail and it's summer, which we're going to say it is, then you actually move 2 spaces. If we'd succeeded, we would have gone 3 or more. So every terroir would have been an extra space. If it was winter, we only would have moved 1 on failure. So we're going to move basically 2 spaces, and we're going to land here before the first event. So here we go. We have an event. We're on the road. We're not into like hostile territory here. And so now we have to make the event check. So here we go. Determine the event. So with event resolution, we have to roll a couple things. So we're going to roll a success die, and on a 1 to 2, the scout will be tested. 3 to 4, the lookout. 5 to 6, the hunter. So it's probably going to be Duinhir, but it could be Mentha who gets tested here. It's going to be Duinhir. So on a 6, he's going to be tested as the hunter. So he's going to be tested. And what is the journey event? So we have to determine the nature of the event. It says if it is within a borderland, it should be a favored feat die roll. If it's within a wildland, just roll a feat die. If it's within a dark land, the lore master makes an ill-favored feat die roll. So luckily, because Fimbrethil was actually kind of slow in our journey, this event is actually going to take us, when we're not into this dark land yet, we are actually going to just roll a single die in the wildland. And let's see. There's something else here I remember is if you're on a road. So if the when we resolve the event, we're actually going to gain a die because we're going to be on a road, which is nice because we're on a road. This is Darklands, but it's a road. It is a road. So here we go. What kind of event? Let's see. It's a 5. That's not great, I don't think. So on the journey events table, a 5 is a mishap. So what's going to happen is that there's some sort of hunting mishap, right? So as we are traveling, we're trying to get some food. Duinhir is going to go out hunting as we travel, and there's going to be a mishap. And if he fails his hunting roll, we're going to add 1 day to the length of the journey, and the target's going to gain 1 additional fatigue. So hunting mishap. I think what we can do here is first just let's use our solo tables. So pulling out our solo tables a little bit, I think you're going to see a little bit of how these can add at least some flavor. I don't know if this will add necessarily a mechanical piece here at this exact moment, but it's going to add, I think, a little bit of flavor. So we're going to use what's called the lore table. So the lore table, if you want to see it a little better, what you do here is it's going to tell us a few things. So what happened with this hunting mishap? Like what's the nature of this? Let's actually roll let's roll on the action. The action, the aspect, and the feature table. I don't think we need the focus table necessarily. So we're gonna roll on, you know what, we'll roll on all of them, but if the focus is not really relevant, we'll just ignore it. So here we go. So first of all, for action. So we rolled a 7-5. So 7-5 means we looked on the feat die was a 7, and then on the success die was a 5. So the action is gonna be reject. So reject, and then for aspect, it's gonna be 6-4. So 6-4, noble, reject, noble. 8-3 is gonna be song, reject, noble, song. And then 5-3 is gonna be inscription. 5-3, inscription. Reject, noble, song, inscription. So, okay, this is making me think is that as Duinhir is out hunting, he actually comes across a an inscription. He comes across this what's a beautiful, small but beautiful stone that's been left, and it is dedicated to somebody. It's dedicated to perhaps actually to a ranger of the north, or someone who is like a ranger, a ranger of the north, who actually, surprisingly is like connected. He stumbles across this and actually realizes, oh, I know of this. Like I know this ranger. Maybe Eridan could be his name, and he actually was killed in this spot, and a memorial was left for him with this beautiful stone with an inscription that says something like, here lies Eridan, the half elf, and may he rest in peace. I don't know. I can't think of more beautiful inscription. I can maybe think about that later. But there's this beautiful inscription, and Duinhir actually for a moment forgets his place. He forgets he's in the midst of a hunt. He kneels down next to this stone inscription, and he actually begins to sing. And he sings softly this noble song, just a lament for fallen comrades. It's not specific to Eridan, but it's this beautiful lament. And again, it's actually in Elvish, but it's a tune, it's a song that is really, really special to the Rangers, because they've lost many Rangers over the years around these hills. And so he's singing this song, and he's just humming it gently under his breath and closing his eyes. And then as he finishes up his song, he looks up and he sees this like massive boar, and it is just absolutely raging. It has this like rage in its eyes as it looks at him, and it is completely rejecting his song. And in a snap, he remembers, I'm hunting. The Eridan was killed because this was treacherous land, and the same thing can happen to me here. So the boar like leaps at Duinhir, and we have to see whether he successfully dodges and stabs and hunts this boar, or what happens to him. So this boar charges at him, and we have to make a hunting check. So this is 2 dice plus our feat die, and we said that because it is just off of a road, he does have an extra success die added. We're not in like harsh territory yet. He's relatively close to the road, and so he has some extra ability there. So here we go. He's got a feat die, 3 dice, and he has to make a target number of 14 to succeed this hunting check. Here we go. Oh my gosh, what a roll! Oh my goodness, 10, 2, 6, 6, 2 different successes. This is an extraordinary success. Extraordinary. So this is what is that, 12? So it's 24 total. Clearly passes the 14 that he needed, but it's an extraordinary success. So I'm imagining as this boar leaps at him, he just rolls to the side and just absolutely like recovers all of his clarity and awareness of the situation, and just absolutely stabs his hunting knife into the boar and catches it like right where he needs to, and it just kind of gurgles and spurts blood, and he just stabs and it's dead. And he rolls it off of the inscription plate where it fell on, and kind of very like tenderly wipes the blood off of the inscription and kisses it before he moves on and takes the boar back for the company. So yes, we succeeded, an extraordinary success, which let's double check and see what that does for us. Like if that takes anything off. Let's see, the roll fails, add 1 day to the length of the journey, and the target gains 1 additional fatigue. We did not fail. We had an extraordinary success. Let's double check what happens with a success. I just don't recall. You know what? I don't recall in this instance. Well, let's see. I think there is a table that says what you can do with successes. Let's see where this is. I think there is a table that says something like, if you, where is this? You like pass on, I know that there's things like you can pass on successes, for example. I know that's like one of the things you can do. Let's see how to read. Here we go. Skill special success. So if a roll scores multiple success icons, they're normally used to achieve multiple special results, such as assisting a fellow player hero and doing it silently. Note that spending a success icon, here we go. So we could do things like cancel a failure. So if a skill roll involves multiple players, you help another player hero who failed. The failed roll is considered a success. You could add an additional success, or you could gain insight. So you could gain insight from this. You could go quietly, you could make haste, you could widen influence. So we're going to say that this extraordinary success, here's what I'm thinking. It's going to, it is going to, I mean, it's an extraordinary success. He did it with such precision, with such speed, with such skill, and he takes back this massive boar as a wonderful feast for the company. And so I'm going to say is that, again, I don't know if this is actually specifically outlined within the mechanics of the game, but I'm going to say that the Fellowship that night just feasts on this incredible boar, and it actually, like, for all of its rage and its anger at Duinhir, this meat is, like, I think blessed by its encounter with Duinhir, and somehow every bite that they have of this meat is just delicious and wonderful and refreshes their spirits. And so I'm gonna say Mentha in particular, who Duinhir is just really wants to recover, wants to heal, is gonna gain back one hit point. So you can say 1 hit point he gains back, she gains back from her damage, and just from how wonderful this food was, begins to recover some of her strength already. So there we go. I believe that now we don't add the fatigue. I don't think we actually add the fatigue yet, but now everybody, because there was a small mishap, even though it was there was an extraordinary success, we were still out in the wilds, and we all gained 2 travel fatigue from this portion of the journey. So, all right, so here we are. We are now this far along, and so we'll have to make another travel roll for Fimbrethil. So Fimbrethil, we said, has a travel of just, I think it was 2 dice and a feat die, and has to hit a 17. So here we go. 17 to succeed. Oh, man. So it's just a 11, 13. She fails again. So a failure is going to bring us just 2 steps more to here. 1, 2, 3. So if she could succeed on this next roll, then we could get to Bree in the next journeying. But here we go. So we're here. We're now in the Darklands, but we're still on the road. We're still on the road to Bree, but we are in the midst of Darklands. And so now in the Darklands, this event is going to be ill-favored. So it's an ill-favored roll, which means we'll roll 2 feat dice and take the worst one. Okay, wow, a 10 would have been amazing. But we got 7, which is still not too bad. It's another mishap. So it's another mishap. And who's it affecting? It is affecting, again, it's another hunting mishap. So 5, another hunting mishap for Duinhir. Here we go. That's funny. Let's roll again on the lore table to find out what happened now. What is going on with Duinhir and his hunting on this journey back to Bree. So we've got a feat dice and a success dice. We're going to roll for the action. So the action is going to be, let's see, 10-4. 10-4. So checking this out, we have uncover. So uncover is the action. The aspect is 5-2. So 5-2 is impenetrable. Uncover, impenetrable. Gandalf symbol and a 6. That's a really good roll in lots of other situations. I don't think it matters here. Peace. Uncover. We said it was uncover, impenetrable, peace, and Eye of Sauron with a 5. Eye of Sauron, 5. Corpse. Ooh. So uncover, impenetrable, peace, corpse. Uncover, impenetrable, peace, corpse. So I'm thinking is that Duinhir is hunting, and he is out with his, what does he use for hunting? He's got he's got a spear. I guess he's got a spear and a hunting knife. So he's got a spear, and he is basically he's hunting, and he actually they're in these harsh lands. It's just hard to find anything good to hunt, but he actually comes across this bear, a great bear, and it's not about really about hunting this for food, but he has to hunt this just to defend the party from this bear, and so he actually is hunting this bear, and it rears up on its hind legs and comes charging at him, and he throws his spear at this bear, and it just seems to almost bounce off in almost like a funny way, how impenetrable this bear's skin appears to be. It just bounces off of him. He just roars all the louder as if he's happy about this, and comes swiping at Duinhir. And Duinhir rolls and leaps for safety, and unfortunately loses his step as he's sort of scampering away, and he slides down into this burrow, which is actually like the bear's burrow, and he slides down into it, and he sort of lands against something, and for a moment he feels like this piece of like, he is like, oh, I'm in like this warm, soft burrow suddenly. I'm fallen in here, but he turns his head slowly to the side, and there is a half rotten corpse that is just right next to him, and he's just absolutely shook at this sight, and sort of has to scamper up out of the burrow, and the bear is right there, and his spear is laying on the ground, and you have to see what he does here. So he's gonna be rolling a feat dice. We're still on just off of a road, so he's gonna get an extra success dice, and he rolls 2 success dice for hunting, and if I'm remembering who this was, this is Duinhir. Duinhir actually gets another feat die because it's a favored roll. So the bear's there, he's standing there. So we've got the juices of this corpse on his sleeve, spears on the ground. Let's see what he can do. Can he succeed at this hunting test? Oh, boy. That is not the best roll, but maybe not bad enough. Let's see. 8, 11, 16, because he can't use this too. 16, and he needs to get a 14. He got it. It's not the best roll, but he had a bunch of success dice, and they were good enough. I feel it wasn't that bad. So 16, he succeeds at it. As the bear comes at him, he just rolls to the side, grabs a spear, thrusts it at the bear. The bear, again, like it almost like, hits him, and just seems to almost like not even pierce him. But the bear, at least this time, somehow it feels like it took some damage and scampers away to seek for someone who is more easily damaged. So yes, that was the roll. We succeeded at the hunting roll. So again, this mishap, we nothing bad happens other than everyone gains an additional 2 fatigue. So 2 fatigue, and all right, here we go. Again, I don't think we apply this yet to our characters, but if I should look that up, really. That's another thing to look up. But if we did, Mentha would have a total of 7 fatigue. 7 plus 6 load is 13. So Mentha is just a couple away from being weary, where then all of her rolls, 1s, 2s, and 3s will get ignored while she's weary. So that is fatigue. So now Fimbrethil is now making at least one more travel check. Again, if she could succeed this, they could get to Bree right now by nightfall. So she's rolling a feat dice. She's rolling just the 2 for her skill of travel. But I think she's also going to spend a single hope. She just thinks of their home in the in the area, or their safe haven at the Prancing Pony. She thinks of the warm ale. She thinks of the happy songs, all of the times that they've had there together as a company. And she's gonna spend a hope to get another success dice. And Duinhir, who actually has skill in travel as well, he comes up and sort of joins her. I think he's allowed to do this. He can add a success dice by spending a hope. I know you're allowed to do that in most other situations. I don't know 100% if you can do that in a journey check. But he comes up and sort of supports Fimbrethil, and then even Mentha comes up as well with, again, the wound on her head is beginning to well and truly seep into the bandage, and it's quite clear that she is pretty gravely wounded. Actually, I don't think she's allowed to help. I think only one person can support, but she comes up. Just narratively, she comes up and she has a big grin on her face, because even she, weary or fatigued as she is and wounded as she is, she also is just happy to think of tonight. Tonight they could be in Bree if they can just make it down this road. So here we go. Rolling, and Fimbrethil has to get a total of, her target number is 17. 5 right here. So there we got it. So 23 with a success. It was a great success as they all come together and walk. So we actually would have moved 4 spaces, but she only needed to move 3 spaces, and gets all the way up to Bree and walk through the gates. And the gatekeepers hardly even question them, because they're coming in. They clearly look worn from battle, but not for ill, clearly for good, because their faces are just bright and cheery, and it's clear that they've been humming a traveling song and with a tune of victory as they return back to Bree and to the Prancing Pony. And so that is that they've finished their journey. Let's, I guess, resolve the journey. At the end of the journey, what you do is everyone's gonna take that fatigue and add it to their sheet, except you can make a travel roll to have less fatigue. So, for example, right here we could start with like Mentha. Mentha has just 1 die and a feat dice, and has to get a 14. I don't think she's gonna succeed yeah, well, she gets a 10, so yeah, not quite enough. So she fails. So she does not reduce the fatigue at all. Fimbrethil will roll 2 dice and a feat die for her travel. She gets a what was that? A Gandalf symbol. So she automatically succeeded. So she will reduce her fatigue by 1. And then Duinhir also has 2 and has to just get a 15. So let's see what he's got. He gets it. He's got 9, 4, 4, so 17. So he also reduces his fatigue by 1. And so the total fatigue there is that from that journey, Duinhir is taking 3 fatigue, up to 6 now, because we said that they basically had 3 fatigue from the journey there. Hey, that was pretty accurate. And then Mentha is going to take 4 fatigue, up to 7 fatigue. So again, she is really close to being weary. She would have almost certainly have been weary if they had not reached Bree by nightfall that night. And so there we go. That took them, I think that you just count it as, I forget how many days it is. Oh yeah, actually this matters. The journey length was, let's see, we count up the number of hexes we traveled, adding a hex for each one that's just hard terrain, hills, woods, marshes. There really wasn't any hard terrain, so it's just going to be basically 7 days, and I don't think there's any time that we would have made a quicker time on that. So it took us 7 days, which actually is nice because now at this point, Mentha's wound is mostly healed. It's just going to be another day before her wound is healed. So 1 day, took us a week to get back, and there you go. We finished our journey, returned home, and I would think that we would be meeting with Girael, who I think is back in one of these areas of the book, I think, that the lore master has. Pretty sure that they're... Oh, here we go. Patrons. Yeah, here we go. So, Gilrael, sorry, not Gilrael. Gilran, the Fair. I think I've pronounced that like 9 different ways now. So she's here what is she at the Prancing Pony? I don't know if she actually would be, but we definitely want to encounter her. So that would probably be the next thing. I'm imagining that we just crash at the Prancing Pony. We all share a song and a drink and an evening together before hitting the hay. And then with the idea of going to meet up with Gilran as soon as possible, which I don't know where she typically lives. But she's in Eriador, so perhaps she would have planned to meet up with us, near there the following day. We could have sent messengers with rangers that we met along the way. So maybe not the following day, but within a few days to meet with Gilran. So yes, to share about our success and to see what else she may have for us. So that is the journey there. We haven't gotten even to the adventure itself, since we kind of did a pre-adventure. But I believe actually in this one, I think you actually get like a letter. So actually, let me just read this part. There's this fateful meeting. I think actually, so we were expecting to have met Gilran, but actually, unexpectedly, we actually have to just get a letter. So let's see. So as we're at the Prancing Pony that night, as we return there, there's a last tale for the night. The evening has been pleasant, and you and your companions have enjoyed much of the pony's fine beer, but you didn't come to the inn merely for cheer. Lady Gilran, your patron and wise counselor, arranged a meeting with a fellow named Rupert Rushlight, a hunter who has a tale of great interest to tell. So we were expecting to meet with Gilran, but instead she's organized this meeting with Rupert Rushlight. So we're a little bit surprised by this change of plans. When an old man with a limp and a bandaged eye approaches your table, you politely invite him to sit. "Greetings, I am Rupert Rushlight," he says in a weathered voice. "We share a friend in Lady Gilran." He glances around the room cautiously before lowering his voice to tell his tale. 3 weeks ago, while hunting in the eastern foothills of the North Downs, I was caught in a sudden storm. Seeking refuge from the biting wind, I stumbled upon a ring of ancient stones atop a hill. Though not a place I'd usually choose for rest, I hoped to find a cave or some kind of shelter there. On the bare summit, I noticed several tracks encircling a shallow pit at the center of the ring of stones. As I moved closer to inspect it, a cloud veiled the moon, enveloping everything in deep darkness. I barely remember what happened next. The air turned deathly cold, colder than any winter's night, as I recall watching my breath freezing before me, and I felt it, an ancient presence, powerful and malevolent, searching for me. When a terrifying growl echoed across the hills around me, I knew I had been discovered. Rupert pauses, his hand trembling as he takes a sip from his tankard. I ran, fleeing down the crowned hill as fast as I could, nearly all the way to Bree. I told the rangers, and word reached Lady Gilran. She asked me to tell you my story, and so I did, but I beg you, don't ask me to return to these cursed stones. With these final words, Rupert hands you an envelope. The seal upon it unmistakably belongs to Gilran. Inside is a letter, written in the lady's graceful yet strong script. So we hand this letter. I don't remember if this letter is still in... Yeah, here we go. There we go. The letter. Here we go. And we can read the letter. Dear friends, I hope this letter finds you in good spirits, for I write to you with a heart heavy with concern. Just days ago, I chanced upon the disturbing story of a hunter from Bree named Rupert, who returned from the North Downs. His tale left me deeply troubled, for he spoke of experiencing a profound dread, the feeling that an ancient shadow had awakened in the dark hills. As I pondered his account, my thoughts turned to you, valiant friends whose courage I greatly esteem. I asked Rupert to find you and share his story, something he has done if you are reading these words. I fear that this dark presence may pose a grave threat not only to those who dwell near the Downs, but possibly to all who call Eriador home. I urge you to travel north to seek the source of this malevolence before it stirs further unrest. You possess the valor and wisdom needed to confront this darkness. May your path be guided by the light of hope, and may you return with the knowledge and courage to face whatever lurks in the hills. With the deepest respect and heartfelt worry, Gilran. Though Rupert's tale sounds strange, you know well that the world is full of such dark mysteries, especially far from Bree's warmth. If Lady Gilran thinks it's worth investigating, it is not to be ignored. All right. So we could consider asking Rupert further questions, right? Like, so we could ask him, like, could you tell us exactly where this crowned hill is? So Duinhir, I imagine Duinhir takes him by the shoulder and tries to look in his eyes and ask him, good sir, I'm so sorry for your experience. Would you be so kind as to tell us where we can find this crowned hill so that we need no guide to reach there? With the implication that otherwise we'd need him to come with us. So he's going to make a Persuade test. Let's see. So he's making he's not good at Persuade. I'm going to say he says this, but then Mentha pops in and says, yes, as a small person myself, I am often afraid, and I've experienced great fear in this world, but you, sir, seem to have experienced even greater fear than I have ever had, I think. And so we would love to go on this adventure, and or on this mission. She catches herself on this mission, on this quest, and we would love to do it ourselves, just the three of us. But we need to know where this hill is so that we can find it successfully. So we're gonna roll 2 dice and a feat die, and I'm pretty certain that let me think. Yeah, I'm gonna just add in a success dice. Gonna give it to, well, no, let's see. I'm gonna ask, how does this work? I'm gonna say that I don't think I need to use the telling table here. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna use the telling table. Does he seem convinced by like what we're saying? Like, was my role playing there successful? And on the telling table, what we do here is we're going to use the telling table. We're going to roll a die. So to use this, what we do is to use it, we ask the question, with yes being the positive outcome. Set the chance of a yes with middling as the default, and roll 1 feat die. And so we're gonna say that I think it was quite likely that my role playing kind of hit his heart. But let's see. This is gonna tell us if that's true. Rolled a 4. So on a 4 or greater, then yes. So we're good. So yes, he was that was a rather convincing argument. But let's see if the persuasion really gets it. So what I'm doing that is I use that to then dictate whether I get a success die. So I get an extra success die. I have 2 persuade from Mentha, who's actually the one who's taking this test. 2 persuade. She gets a feat die, and then she gets 1 success die from our argumentation. Was quite to the point for him. So here we go. All right, I think we got it. Let's see, it's 12, 17, 18. Her target for this is just 14. Success, and not just a success, but a great success. A great success. So let's see what we happen to learn here. So we succeeded at this test. So Rupert, his hand shaking, he organizes a rough map on the table in the inn, using platters and mugs to represent landmarks and a trail of crumbs to outline their itinerary. That's funny. And so he basically sets up a whole map for us, and in fact, since it was a great success, we get to take this information from the dark hills of Rudar. So he actually shares a little bit of information. It was on the North Downs. The hillmen that have inhabited the northernmost lands of Eriador since before the foundation of the North Kingdom, I'll tell you. They're driven into the inhospitable hills and mountains of Rudar by the advancing Numenorians. This is just a bit of lore, just to give you a bit of a picture of the place. Their resentment and persecution first led them to form an alliance with Angmar, which eventually turned into servitude. Upon the defeat of the Witch King, many who once served him fled east across the misty mountains. However, some chose to remain in the cold wastes of Rudar and Angmar, hiding in caves and secret valleys to evade the vengeful armies of Gondor and the High Elves. With the passage of many centuries, their descendants still endure to this day, living as hunters and warriors in a fragile peace with the orcs that occasionally raid this region. So you should be aware of these people of the north, as well as the raiding orcs who are not uncommonly to be found in this area. So we've gained this extra information because he was just so persuaded by our persuasion. So there we go. So and we're gonna pause there. So the next step here would be into the North Downs. So prompted by the words of Rupert and the request of Lady Girain, the player heroes set out north. So we all look at each other. We can tell from the map that he gave us, we actually know the area well enough to have a really good sense of actually between what we know and what we know of is beyond what we know. And given his map we put together, we all kind of look at each other around the table and nod with a smirk, and think we can take care of business for this poor man. And we clap Rupert on the shoulder and say, "Not to worry, man. We'll be back before you know it, and we'll have solved the little problem of this horror on the hill." He grimaces at the way you describe it, but the way we described it, but but he nods his head as well and seems happy enough that we're taking this on. And so next coming up, we'll be going into the North Downs on a journey and kind of going to the next stage from there. So it looks like it'll be a journey is the end of that section going into the Crowned Hill. But I'm going to stop right there and let the journey be the first part of the next time that I play. So anyhow, that is that. That was fun. I had a lot of fun. I'm very curious if you have fun watching this, if it's super watchable or not. If you were able to understand the game and how it plays out. And please, if you're familiar with this game, more familiar than I am, please let me know if I messed anything up with the rules or if there are any pieces that I was sort of missing out on that I could have been adding in. But this was fun, and I kind of don't think I need to do Strider mode. I like being able to roleplay a whole group of heroes and sort of see their interactions with one another. So this is a good time, and please let me know if it was a good time for you, and thanks for watching. Bye.